Hi, I'm Ross from Energy Matters. Welcome to our podcast, Road to Zero, where we dive headfirst into all things renewable. Join us as we chat with industry experts, tech specialists, and some of your favorite TV and radio personalities, asking the renewable energy questions that you want answers to. Our goal, a zero carbon future. In today's episode, I am absolutely thrilled to be joined by my very good friend, Ross Crawford, the National Sales Manager for AIKO Energy Australia. Hello, Ross. How are you?
Hey, Ross. I'm great, mate. Yourself?
I am very well, mate. Very well. Roshan and Ross. Everyone else gets us confused by name, that is.
A bit of a tongue twister, isn't it? I don't know how that gets confused. I've only got slightly more hair than you, mate, but all good.
Mate, I have freshly shaven. Thank you very much. In fact, I did it last week, and I've trimmed the beard as well. So I'm not looking like a fresh baby's bottom. I'm looking like a much older one.
Nah, you're fine, mate. You're fine. Hey, so you were just in China last week, weren't you?
I was. Thank you for remembering. Yeah, it was amazing. Absolutely incredible. Obviously, we saw your facility the year before, which was incredible. But we're filming our new TV show, Global Revolution, or Global Energy Revolution, which will be on Channel 9 in February. So very excited about that. And, mate, I'll tell you what. I mean, every time I go to China, I'm just even more blown away. I tell you now, I mean, the rate at which the Chinese are adopting renewable energy technology in their own country is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it's already the highest growing renewable energy country, if you like, in the world in terms of how many assets they're actually putting up and using themselves to offset their own carbon footprint. But the amount of EVs on the road, we went to Geely, which is one of the largest car manufacturers on the planet, and their robotics and research and development center and overall setup was just absolutely mind-blowing. So we saw some pretty cool stuff, Ross. I mean, your facility still is one of my favorites, I have to say. But I'll tell you now, there's some really, really good stuff going up there.
They're certainly dominating the renewable energy industry. Though obviously the Chinese identified it, I guess, in the early to mid 2000s as a industry they wanted to be leaders in. And I think I was reading a report last week or the week before that in the last year, China installed more solar than the rest of the world combined. It's absolutely unreal.
That's 100% true. So right now in the planet, if you look at all the renewable energy assets, and when I say assets, I mean like utility scale renewable energy. So the massive, huge, like hydro, wind, solar, etc. If you looked at all the renewable energy being produced in the planet as a whole, a third of that is being produced in China. And over the last 12 months, they're absolutely accelerating. So I think what's really happened, and what I find so comical, Ross, is you look at the media, not pointing fingers at anyone because I'm not going to bite the hand that feeds me either. But look, if you look at the media, I mean, what's portrayed is that China is a huge polluter, the largest polluter of carbon on the planet. And look, let's be honest, they are. And at the same token, their goal of actually moving forward to being a renewable energy powered country is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, the simple fact they're producing 82% of all renewable energy technology that's used around the world in China, then sending that out is a huge kudos to itself because you're offsetting your carbon footprint just by helping every other country reduce theirs. But at the same token, if you look at the rate at which they're looking to tip the balance, it's crazy. Here's another little tip, little insight for you, Ross. I've pretty much shared this one in every single podcast so far, but it's the one that just gets me every time because once again, I mean, look, we're both British, we're both Australian now as well, and the simple. Actually, no, you're South African. Sorry, I keep calling you British.
South Africa. Don't worry, I hold a British passport. It's all good.
You do. You're everywhere. You have a global passport.
I am the United Nations in one.
You are. You should work for the UN at some point. We both should, to be honest. But if you look at the actual per capita or the capita of renewable of carbon of how much the carbon footprint of every single individual around the world in Australia per person, our carbon footprint is twice as high as someone in China. So although when you consider we've got just over 25 million people in our country and they've got hundreds of millions, the actual amount of carbon that each individual person is actually using is half in China compared to an Australian. So we're one of the highest on the planet. So when I speak to people, and they're like, yeah, well, there's nothing we can do to reduce our carbon footprint. It should really be, China and India and the US. 100% agree. And at the same token, when you look at the rate at which they're going, net zero or reducing their carbon footprint, it's a hell of a lot quicker than us. So it's very, very impressive indeed. And of course, Ross, the food was amazing. So I'm glad this podcast is only shoulder height because I wouldn't want to go down any lower.
I understand. I've been there a few times as well, and the food's absolutely brilliant. But, it's not only that. It just seems there's a generation coming through in China that obviously are pro-renewables, but pro the environment overall. You go into the big cities such as Shanghai, which Shanghai as a city's got the same population of the whole of Australia. And the city's spotless. There's no litter. There's nothing around. Close. It's actually really green. So I just think there's a generation coming through saying we want to clean up. We want to be pro-environment, pro-renewables. And it's really, they're leading the way. They can definitely show the rest of the world how to lead the way there.
Absolutely. Well, look, we've really taken the time on this particular show to film in and around China as well. So we actually captured some of Shanghai. I mean, like you just mentioned, we were so surprised. We have been to Shanghai previously, but only very quick, just transiting and a quick overnight stay before shooting the next day elsewhere. But this time we actually really got to explore Shanghai. And once again, I mean, Shanghai, Ningbo, Shenzhen, Hong Kong, I mean, all those cities are huge. As you said, each city represents, the whole population of Australia. But to keep it that clean, that organized, and with such a strong commitment to, to using like either electric vehicles as the mode of transportation, electric buses, high-speed electric trains. I mean, really, it's kind of like the whole 360 of how can we do this and do this really, really well. And look, I'm just, once again, I'm always so inspired when I come back. It's just incredible. But Ross, something else I'm even more inspired by right now, seeing as I'm back, is All Energy. It is just around the corner. Before we get stuck into All Energy, Ross, just in case anyone doesn't know, I'm pretty sure everyone does, but for anyone who's listening or watching, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and your role at AIKO?
Yeah, so thanks, Rosh. So I'm the National Sales Manager at AIKO. I'm responsible for managing distributors, but also driving solar installers and retailers to those distributors. So I introduce them to the AIKO product, get them understanding the unique features, because there are a number of unique features in the AIKO product, and ensuring that they know where they can buy that stock from. So we have 5 distributors in Australia, being Solar Juice, Trade Zone, AC Solar Warehouse, Soul Distribution, and L&H. And we ensure that all our customers know exactly where they can get that stock from, and which actually, because we have a number of different products, AIKO products, solar panels, and which distributors holding that stock that they require. So I started with AIKO back in January last year when we launched into the market. So January, what year are we now? 2025. So January 2024. And our first panels landed in Australia in May. So our first panels were installed in May 2024. And we've had this huge success and this huge uptake of our panels. And it's been fantastic. The industry's really adopted a new brand into the market, which is great to see.
Well, I love your products because I've got them on my own roof, right? So they were just absolutely incredible. I mean, to be honest with you, it just blows my mind at what time they actually start working. I remember back in the day, as like, when I used to, sell solar, and I used to, go around by appointment to someone's house and look at their bills and talk to them about solar power. This was back in 2009. So it's been, 17 years now. And, you go to a place where there's full of trees and think, sorry, mate, can't help you. A bit of shade on one panel, and it's going to knock out the entire string. Your house isn't suitable. And there's so many properties like that around Australia. Now, I live in the Gold Coast hinterland, as you know, surrounded by trees. And my solar panels, and we used to say, sorry, just before I deviate, we would say back then, the core solar hours for production are really between 10 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right? So in Queensland, that's sort of 4 hours. of peak sunshine is between that sort of time frame when the sun's at the highest point. I wake up at like 5. The sun's probably up before by 6. My solar panels are kicking out power by about 6:30, and they're not even on, and they're more on the northwest face, not even on the east face. So it's absolutely mind-blowing how quickly they start producing electricity, and then irrespective of the shading, because of the panels, the technology that you have around shading on those panels, I mean, it's absolutely amazing how much production I'm getting out. So I have to say, mate, it's, you know, the way you've actually developed your technology, a massive pat on the back to your R&D teams back in China, because they're doing such an incredible job. And I believe, from what I've understood, at All Energy, you're going to be showcasing some even more cool stuff. Can you give us a bit of an update, a little bit of a sneak preview as to what you're going to be showing off?
Yeah, no, you're 100% correct. These panels do perform very, very well. They're the most efficient panels on the market currently. And their efficiency is just going to keep increasing. So at All Energy, we'll be showcasing our 3rd generation product, which is our 3S, which is our all black panel. And that's already available in the market, 475 watt panel. So it's a most efficient all black panel in the market. So if you can see that property behind me, I wish that was my house, but it's not. That's our all black panel. Perform well, but also aesthetically pleasing as well. And then we'll also be showcasing our 3P product, which is the exact same size. The only difference is it has a white backsheet, and it is a 490 watt product. So the efficiency in that, or the wattage we're providing for that footprint, is so much more higher than our competitors. And that all comes down to the technology of AIKO panels, what we call ABC, all back contacts. And that basically frees up a lot of the cell area at the front to be exposed to sunlight. So we have no bus bars on the front of that cell. All those bus bars that capture the electrons and transport those electrons is on the rear of the cell. That's providing a much more efficient panel for homeowners such as yourself, Ross, who install the AIKO panel on their house.
I love it. I mean, you really are just maximizing that surface area, which is just super smart. And it's about incremental gains as well. So the fact you've actually made that tweak to the design of your panels and implemented it, just essentially just, you know, it just gives you, like, if you consider every roof only has so much surface area. So it's really maximizing as much of that as possible. Quick question for you. Why is the white back sheet why does the white back sheet have a higher efficiency than the all black?
It's more or less the same cells, but black kind of absorbs a little bit more heat. So you lose a little bit of efficiency when the panels get a little bit hotter. So we use the same cells, we just downgrade it a little bit.
No, gotcha. I mean, I've got all black for me, and you know, aesthetics was a massive part for us as well. So once again, I'm producing way more electricity and solar than I actually need, and my batteries are fully charged by about 10 o'clock in the morning. So it's a perfect setup. But I think at the end of the day, it really is a great opportunity for people just to maximize their roof space. And even if you think at home, you're kind of looking at your roof thinking, well, look, I've only got a small sort of property, haven't got a great deal of surface area, and I've got trees, potentially sort of casting shade. You really need to consider AIKO. And these new panels, the 495, sound incredible because you really are capitalizing on that shading technology as well as maximizing, the surface area in your roof. And you can still produce more than you actually need, even if you've got a small roof now, due to the high efficiencies and high wattage of these panels. So they do sound absolutely incredible, Ross. One thing I've seen from you, and we always do a little video when I'm at All Energy or Smart Energy, wherever I am, because you always have a little demo going on. Now, I don't know if you want to give this away on this podcast, but do you have a little demo going on this year?
I haven't actually seen the design for the layout of the stand, so it's a bit of a surprise for me next week when I pop out there. But I'm pretty sure there'll be some sort of demonstration going on. I'm almost certain there will be. It wouldn't be AIKO-like if we didn't have a demonstration. So yeah, so certainly come around, whether it's the same one or a different one. That's for us to see yet. So yeah,
mate. Well, you've got a couple of hours to get up to speed. That I'll be walking around with the TV crew this year. So we're filming some of the new TV show whilst we're there. So we'll certainly come past and get a bit of B-roll with Ross and AIKO in the background. So make sure you're prepared, fresh to brew.
Definitely. I'll have my hair brushed and ready for you, mate. So
good, man. A couple of quick things before we head off. So first of all, obviously, if anyone watching All Energy, you have to be there. 29th and 30th October, Melbourne Exhibition Centre, MCC in South Bank. It's going to be huge. It's big every year. It's probably the biggest event of the year. Well, it is the biggest event every single year, but this year promises to be even bigger. Lots of amazing speakers, hundreds of exhibitors, including AIKO. So you've got the latest and greatest technology and stuff that's either available here in Australia or coming soon. It's a free event. So despite the caliber of the speakers at this particular event, which you can see throughout the 2 days, the event is completely free of charge to attend. So anyone who's in Melbourne or can get to Melbourne on the 29th and or the 30th of October, you definitely want to be there and do not miss it. It's going to be absolutely incredible. Ross, before I leave you, I just want to ask you a couple of questions about the Cheaper Homes Battery program. I know that, panels, batteries, completely separate realms, but obviously there is a knock-on effect, I suppose, for you as well. Are you seeing a lot more customers now uptaking solar power for the first time? So going for panels now, the battery rebate is available, or is it still fairly consistent?
Yeah, I think it's a bit mixed, Rosh. I think you've got customers retrofitting batteries to their current solar array. You then have customers taking off their old solar array and putting on the latest and the greatest, which is obviously AIKO, and then adding a battery with that, or they adding another system on and installing a battery with that new system, or they completely gone from no solar whatsoever to having solar and batteries now. So it's been really great. We've seen, as I said, the last year we've had this huge uptake, but in the last 3 months since this battery rebates kicked off, for AIKO at least, it's certainly our panel sales have gone through the roof, which is fantastic to see. There was a bit of concern whether there would just be a focus on batteries, and I'm sure there are a number of solar retailers who are just focusing on batteries. But at the end of the day, what customers are wanting is they wanting a highly efficient product to be on their roof to charge their battery. So it's fully charged most days.
No, completely.
So it's working. Yeah, it's working really well for us.
No, which is absolutely fantastic. And when you consider, even when I go back to 2009 for myself personally, but 2005 when Energy Matters first started, all those customers that were onboarded, the early adopters, who are the amazing visionaries and really great individuals who installed solar power despite the actual cost of it back then, which was crazy money. They've obviously got 160 watt panels, so the 150s, all the way up to 190s. So they're looking to obviously say, well, I've got a 1.5 kilowatt solar system. My premium feeding tariff's done and dusted. It's now time. If I want to get a battery, I need to really take full advantage of this battery and really sort of remove those panels and add new ones. Obviously, the biggest concern that we've always had, and I know that you share with AIKO, because when I speak to your team in China in the past, everyone's got their mind focused on recycling and how to manage in the future. Sort of how to reduce landfill and help obviously with recycling. Are you really starting to see that more now in conversations with R&D? And, even when, retailers are removing panels off roofs, that they're kind of trying to now understand how best they can actually utilize that older panel without sending it to landfill?
Yeah, there definitely is. We want, first of all, it's important for panel manufacturers to be designing a product that's not going to last 5 years, it's not going to last 10 years, but it's going to last 25 to 30 years. We've seen many panel manufacturers come into the country, sell their product at very, very low cost, disappear as an entity, and those panels have broken down and there's no one there to take responsibility. So at the end of the day, the homeowner, what they left with is a system that's not working on their roof. They just want rid of it. Unfortunately, a lot of the time they're not considering how that's getting recycled.
Yeah.
So with AIKO, our panels are designed to last past their warranty period, that 25-year product, 30-year performance. So the customer's getting a long-term asset on their roof that's going to generate yield for them for that 30 plus years. At present, you do see a lot of panels coming off roof. It could be older systems, such as customers who not on that feed-in tariff, or in Queensland that feed-in tariff is still live, but those customers most of them only installed small systems.
Yeah,
so they want to take advantage of the battery rebate, so on. So now they're going with a new system and taking off their old panels. We don't have a really strong recycling process or set up here in Australia. There's not really many solar panel recyclers, and we're such a large country as well. So if there's panels up in North Queensland coming off a roof, to get it to a recycler in Brisbane, the cost is massive, and it outweighs what that need to recycle it is. So what we do find is there's a few people coming around to solar installers, retailers, collecting those old panels, packing them into a container and shipping them off to developing countries where they can have a second life. Obviously checking that they're working and there's no danger with electrical currents or so on. But I guess that is where it is pleasing. We do need to, in Australia, set up a better infrastructure around recycling panels. We have installed so many panels over the last 10, 15 years, but it's just such a huge country that makes it very, very challenging to set up.
Yeah, I mean, the logistics in Australia will always be our biggest challenge. I mean, we have, great density of population around the capital cities, but then, as you said, it's a huge country. And to get from like one side to the other, I mean, God, it's like traveling overseas. And when we look, when I'm back in the UK, I mean, that's like going to the other side of Europe, just going to to visit, from Queensland to Victoria. So it is absolutely crazy and ludicrous. But yeah, we do, and we definitely need to work on it. I mean, it's good to see that manufacturers like yourself are building your products with one eye on, what happens at end of life. And as you said, the first thing that you've kind of considering is make this panel as amazing as possible in terms of its production, its efficiency, but more importantly, its durability, to ensure that it will last and extend past the warranty period. I mean, I have every confidence, having seen your panels actually being made firsthand in that facility and just outside of Hong Kong. I mean, it was incredible, but you can kind of see straight away that those panels, the way they're put together, the research development, the quality control, all those checks and balances means when one panel leaves the conveyor belt ready to be packed and shipped, it's gone through a very, very rigorous process to ensure it's perfect. So 30 years, it gives us really then that 25, 30 years to kind of almost catch up and start thinking about and planning about recycling and coming up with better processes, cheaper processes. And as you said, trying to tackle this infrastructure issue that we have in Australia. So we have got a process of really regular collections of panels, drop-off centers, technology available on location to be able to break down the panel. And then once they're broken down to components, they then can be sent to a capital city to go through the process of thorough recycling. So look, I think we're definitely getting there, Ross. And you're right. It really does start with having a quality product on your roof first and foremost. So it's not like something you're going to have to replace every few years. And you don't have to think about it again. You set, forget, 25, 30 years later, it's your kid's problem. And then they can basically, run through the process that's available back then. I like it, mate. Well, sounds pretty exciting. Any final words with AIKO? Anything else you want to leave our audience with?
Look, we've got a fantastic product. The feedback from end customers or homeowners and business owners such as yourself who have the product installed on their properties has been unbelievable. Everyone's pleasantly surprised at how well the AIKO panels are performing. I think it's a fantastic product. I've been in the industry for quite a while, and I like to represent premium products, and this product's just blown everyone away with our efficiencies and how well it does perform out there and how well built it is, as you mentioned, with the manufacturing. But what I would suggest is, if you don't know much about AIKO, you would like to know us, we will be at All Energy next week. Head on down to our stand. We're close to the centre. you won't miss us. There'll be loads of signage, guys. We've got a big stand, but come and have a chat with myself or one of the team, and more than happy to give you a really good overview of AIKO and all unique features and how we can best support you and your business.
Absolutely fantastic, Ross. Well, thank you so much for your time, mate. Appreciate it as always. And I look forward to seeing you next week at All Energy.
Excellent, Ross. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, mate. Okay, guys, you heard it here first. Ross Crawford, AIKO Energy. You know I love their panels. I have them on my own roof. So what can I say? I mean, there are some great panels out there, other great manufacturers out there. And having just returned from China, once again, my mind is blown as to how next level the manufacturing processes are over there. And as Ross said, it's just an amazing country in terms of their commitment to renewable energy. So it makes you watch our show in February next year. Don't worry, there'll be plenty of reminders. For anyone out there who is yet to go solar, jump onto our website, ngmatters.com.au/free solar quotes, and request a quote for solar power in your local area, be it solar panels with batteries on their own, panels on their own, whatever, EV chargers, you name it. We work with a lot of different manufacturers around the world, as you know, but we also work with over 300 different installers and retailers around Australia. So no matter where you live in Australia, if you want to get a quote, we'll try our best to pair you up with at least one, maybe up to 3 different installers, so you get a variety of quotes. Make sure you put in the notes that you want a quote on AIKO, because once again, for me personally, they're an absolute game changer. And look, I chose them specifically because I knew that's what I needed for my particular property, and I knew they'd deliver not just for now, but we're here. This is our forever home, and we're staying in this property for at least 25 years or until we're too old to manage it. So we needed something that we didn't have to change again in the quarter of a century, and I know we've got the right product on our roof. So definitely submit a request for a quote, put AIKO in the notes, and we'll try and pay you up. Other than that, thank you so much for your time. If you're at All Energy, I'll definitely be there, so so come and say hello. And aside from that, have a fantastic rest of the week. All the best. Cheers.